Dark Skies event is up next in Pokemon GO, which is going to be the lead up to the Max Finale event featuring Dynamax Eternatus. But we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to split these up into two separate videos because it's very overwhelming and we want to simplify it for you guys. In this video, we're going to discuss some important details and bonuses leading up to the Max Finale event. We're going to look at the Go Pass Max Finale, including the rewards and the tiers you definitely need to reach. But the main heartbeat of this video is going to be what Dynamax Pokemon should you really be focusing on to go after and capture leading up to the Max Finale with Max Eternatus. This is the Dark Skies with Go With Us. Let's get dates out of the way. Guys, this Dark Skies event is going to be kicking off on Monday, the 18th of August at 10 a.m., running all the way until Saturday, August 23rd at 10 a.m. local time, and that is when the Max Finale Eternatus will take over. First up, the Go Pass Max Finale. From Monday 18th until Friday 22nd, you will be able to collect the Go points, and there will be a daily cap during the Dark Skies event, but the daily cap will then disappear during the Max Finale event. At the end of this Go Pass Max Finale, we will get an encounter with Eternatus. We also will get random encounters with Dynamax Pokemon. We can get increased candy, including Eternatus candy, and there will be extra max particles as rewards on this pass. If trainers want to upgrade to the Go Pass Deluxe, there will be additional rewards. First of all, there will be increased chance of encountering shiny Dynamax Pokemon coming from these raids. An Eternatus Helmet Avatar item will be available. There's going to be even more encounters with event-themed Pokemon, probably Dynamax Pokemon. We're going to get even more candy and Candy XL for Pokemon, including Eternatus candy and Candy XL, and there's going to be even more max particles available. The main part of this Go Pass Max Finale is going to be the certain tiers we need to reach. At tier 1, we can get increased power for Behemoth Blade and Behemoth Bash coming from Crown Sword Zacian and Crown Shield Zamazenta, as well as the fact that additional max particles will be available from power spots. When we reach the second tier, we're going to get even more power for Behemoth Blade as well as Behemoth Bash, and there's going to be more chance of encountering wild Pokemon near power spots. Tier 3 is going to be the final tier, and we will get the maximum power needed for Behemoth Blade and Behemoth Bash, as well as additional rewards from max Pokemon placed at power spots after max battles. What spawns are going down during this event? Spawning in the wild, we're going to have Grookey, Scorbunny, Sobble, Squavette, and Wooloo. We have featured raids going down as well. In 1-star raids, we're going to see Sinistea. Please bear in mind that Sinistea could be the antique form. There's a 1 in 100 chance. If you guys want to check if you do have the antique form, just to praise the Pokemon, and your team leader will tell you if it's the phony or antique form. Appearing in 3-star raids, we have Galarian Farfetch'd and Galarian Weezing. Both shinies are available there. From Monday, August 18th until the 20th, Zacian and Zamazenta in their regular forms will be in raids. Details are out of the way, but now we've reached the heartbeat of this video, which is which Pokemon should you really be going after leading up to this Max Finale event. What they've done here is that they've grouped a whole bunch of Dynamax Pokemon spawning on different days, and what we're going to do is list the Pokemon on each day and what targets you should really go after in that pool. Starting off on Monday the 18th, we have Dynamax Squirtle, Caterpie, Ghastly, Krabby, Shuckle, Sableye, Beldum, Latias, Latios, Trubbish, Sobble, and Hatenna. There are some big targets on Monday, the first one being D-Max Ghastly going into Dynamax Gengar. The great thing about D-Max Gengar is that it has a Ghost fast move as well as a Dark type fast move, which means you can use it as a Dark type attacker or a Ghost type attacker. This is a very valuable Pokemon to have on your team. Next up, we have Krabby going into D-Max Kingler. The great thing about Dynamax Kingler is that, again, its attack stat is incredibly high, sitting at 240, but the fast attack stat it has access to is that we can use it as a ground attacker because it has Mud Shot, although that does need an elite TM, but it's a half a second fast move. It also gets Metal Claw, which is also a half a second fast move. You could use that as a steel attacker, and it also has Bubble in there as well. This Pokemon is extremely versatile. Next up, worth mentioning, is going to be Dynamax Beldum going into D-Max Metagross. I cannot say this enough. Dynamax Metagross as a tank, as an attacker, is going to serve you very, very well for the foreseeable future. D-Max Metagross has a very high attack stat of 257, but why it's such a good attacker is because it gets access to Fury Cutter, which is a half a second bug type move, so you can use it as a bug type. But overall, Metagross is something that we've been using for some time in these D-Max as well as G-Max battles to get your targets. Next up, we have the Eon duo, which is going to be Latias and Latios. What I'm going to do for you guys, and I'm going to leave a card above me right now, we did a full breakdown of that raid weekend for both of these, and it really breaks down why you should be going after these, specifically one. However, in this particular case, you want to be going after Latias because, in a very long story short, Latias is currently the best dragon tank in the game, where Latios is the best dragon attacker in the game. You can see why by their base stats. Latias has Dragon Breath, which is a half a second fast move. It also gets Zen Headbutt, but it also gets access to Charm. So even on the fairy side, if you don't have anything better, it could work for you. But like we said, the defensive stats on Latias really make it a good tank. Next up, we have D-Max Sobble going into D-Max Inteleon's fast moves that it has access to is going to be Pound, which is great because it's a half a second fast move, but you wouldn't really be using this as a normal type attacker because Inteleon is a water type, so you really want to be using that max Geyser because it's going to be doing the most amount of damage possible. And last but not least, we have Hatena going into Hatterene. The great thing about Hatterene is that it has access to Charm, and because of that, it is currently, I believe, the best fairy type attacker in the game, or definitely in the top 2. So Hatterene, if you don't have a fairy type D-Max Pokemon, go after it. Monday's out of the way. What's happening on Tuesday the 19th as well as Wednesday the 20th? We have D-Max Charmander, Omanyte, Kabuto, Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres, Pidove, Drillbur, Cryogonal, Rookidee, Amped Form Toxtricity, Low-Key Form Toxtricity, as well as Scorbunny. First up, we have Dynamax Omanyte, which was just released into the game actually. Dynamax Omanyte can go into Omastar. Omastar currently is going to be your best rock type attacker in the game. If you guys recall, we've actually just had G-Max Butterfree. This would have been the best attacker to use, but it literally came out the day after. So go after a D-Max Omastar if you want a good rock attacker. Next up is going to be your Kanto Birds. Unfortunately, these Kanto Birds are going to be beaten out by other G-Max Pokemon, but if you want to focus on something like Zapdos, for example, it could be a good thing to do because it has a half a second fast move, which does require an Elite TM, which is going to be Thunder Shock. Its attack stat is also pretty high at 253, but unfortunately, this Pokemon in the electric type category is going to be beaten out by something like G-Max Toxtricity. Now, Moltres has a flying as well as a fire type move. Unfortunately, though, none of these are half a second, which means that Dynamax meter is going to charge slowly. Again, if we look at flying and fire specifically, something like a G-Max Charizard is always going to beat out something like the Moltres. And I would say Articuno is probably the worst attacker out of these three. It only knows ice type moves, and none of them are half a second in terms of its fast moves. Next up, we have Dynamax Drillbur going into Excadrill. Excadrill right now is a brilliant Pokemon to use as a ground and steel type option. The reason why for ground is that it does have access to Mud Shot, which is incredible, but as a tank, it resists a lot of types because of that steel typing. And overall, as an attacker as well as a tank, this is a very, very useful Pokemon. Definitely go after it. Next up, we have D-Max Rookidee going into Dynamax Corviknight. Unfortunately, Corviknight doesn't have the best attacking stats, but as a defensive Pokemon, it actually is pretty good as a tank because it does take on that steel typing. Then we're going to do this as a duo, Amped Form Toxtricity as well as Low-Key Form Toxtricity. These Pokemon do have pretty good moves with electric and poison type options, but again, it is going to get outclassed by something like the G-Max Toxtricity as well as the Eternatus when it does eventually come out. But if you don't have them, pretty good for the Dex entry. Another honorable mention for Scorbunny going into D-Max Cinderace. The G-Max Cinderace currently is the best fire type attacker in the game, so go after that G-Max, but D-Max Scorbunny might serve you well if you don't have any other better fire types. On to Thursday and Friday now, which is going to be the 21st and 22nd. Coming into D-Max raids is going to be Dynamax Bulbasaur, Machop, Chansey, Raikou, Suicune, Entei, Wailmer, Darumaka, Passimian, Grookey, Squavette, Wooloo, and Phalanx. First up, we have D-Max Machop going into Dynamax Machamp. Dynamax Machamp could be very handy for you. Unfortunately, it's not the best kind of tank or healer, but on the attacking side, it could do some really good damage for you if you don't have anything. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't have any half a second charge moves. It does get access to Karate Chop, Bullet Punch, and Counter, so you can even use it as a steal option. Next up, and this one is very important, is going to be Dynamax Chansey, but I'm going to stop you guys there. If you guys weren't aware, on the 25th, which is right after the Max Finale event, a Max Monday for Chansey will be live from 6 to 7 p.m. where Chansey will be all over the map. Dynamax Chansey goes into D-Max Blissey, and right now Dynamax Blissey has the highest, spongiest stats from a defensive and stamina point of view in the entire game. It's probably the best healer and definitely one of the best tanks from a utility point of view. It's a brilliant Pokemon. Its defensive stats are so good, but more importantly, the main reason why is because it has a half a second fast move, which is going to be Pound. Don't overlook Blissey at all. Next up is a very important one, is going to be Dynamax Darumaka going into D-Max Darmanitan. I believe we've actually had 2 Max Mondays for this Pokemon. This is a very important Pokemon to get, especially if you do not have G-Max Charizard or G-Max Cinderace. This is going to be your 3rd best fire type attacker in the game right now. Its attack stat is incredibly high, but it actually gets access to Tackle, which is a half a second fast move, so it can charge that meter pretty quickly, but you're probably going to be using Fire Fang because you do need it as a fire attacker. Up next is going to be D-Max Grookey going into Dynamax Rillaboom. Again, the G-Max Rillaboom is going to be far better and definitely the best grass type attacker for the foreseeable future, but if you don't have the G-Max, it gets access to Razor Leaf as a grass move, but it also gets access to Scratch, which is a half a second normal move, and I would say this is probably 1 tier under G-Max attackers because it's going to serve you really well as a grass type. By the time you're watching this video, we're going to be in the middle of Shadow Kyogre raid weekend. We've done a full breakdown of this Pokemon, why you need to go after it, and why it would be valuable now, especially for some other hidden tips that I don't think a lot of people are mentioning. Please check it out as our end screen right now. Love you guys, appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the likes, all the subscriptions. It's growing by the day. Appreciate your support. We cannot do this without you. Keep us growing. It's the best way to tell YouTube that you want to see more of our content. Love you guys. Go with us. It's a dark skies, baby. Shh.